welcome to the event show. Here we are with another episode, and I really want to talk to you today about sponsorship and how you manage sponsors. So, to set the scene for you, I've worked on different sides of the coin, I like to say, in terms of sponsorship. So, I've worked both for the sponsor in terms of managing sponsorships that they sign up to, so they pay money for. And I've also worked on the other side where I've been the one that's gone out to source the sponsorship for an event that I might be organising for somebody. What I want you to think about when it comes to sponsorship is what is it that you own? What is your asset? And what is that worth? That's the first thing that I want you to think about with your sponsorship. So instead of like most people start with the scenario of we need an extra $30,000 for our event, our conference, our festival. Who do we know who might give us $30,000? And what have we got that we might be able to offer them in return for that? That typical scenario results in misaligned sponsors or sponsors that have very high expectations. It also results in a bit of a wishy-washy value proposition back to them. It's something that's, it's not a great deal of value to them, the benefits that you offer in return. And thirdly, no real engagement. Like it doesn't add value often, again, to both sides of the coin. So the reason you want to enter into a sponsorship with an event, for example, as a sponsor, is you want to be able to look for access to an audience or an experience that you couldn't get otherwise. So, as the event organizer looking for sponsorship, you want to highlight the assets you have that are really hard for other people to buy. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because oftentimes I see sponsorship proposals talk about benefits to the immediate audience there. So let's say we've got a conference and we've got 300 people coming to our conference. It's 3 days. There's plenary. There's a couple of breakout sessions. There is a social networking or a welcome event. There's a gala dinner. Perhaps there's some awards and there might be some sort of farewell networking event. Typically, those sponsorship proposals are designed around those events. Would you like to sponsor the coffee cart? Would you like to sponsor the gala dinner at a festival? Would you like naming rights on the stage, for example? They're all highly valuable things that need to be sponsored. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a little bit backwards on the pitch. So you want to understand what are the assets that you have first, like I mentioned at the beginning. So not necessarily this audience right now, but what asset do you have as a business? What assets do you have as an individual? What assets do you have as a company, the people within your company, your network, your suppliers, your producers? Um, have a look at your entire stakeholder map and have a think about that as an asset. So who in there is worth connecting other people to, for example? So here's the thing, at events, even sponsors want to meet other people. We all are looking for ways to get in front of the person that's really hard to get in front of. So the first thing I would encourage you to look at in your sponsorship is the people that you're connected to, not only the people who are coming to the event, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why I don't think they're as important if I'm a sponsor evaluating an opportunity. So not only the people who are coming to your event, but who are your members? Who do you hang out with? Who are your LinkedIn connections? Who works for you? Who are they connected to? What kind of influence do you have in the industry, within your community? Can you help me do something else that I need to do? So, the people that are coming there at your event, the people that are in your audience, research shows that recall on sponsor logos is fairly low. If that's all you're looking at, you're paying a high price. So as a sponsor, if that's all you're looking at is what return on investment or what reach you're getting at that event right there, right now, you're going to discover that your reach is probably pretty low. You're not going to get much of a return on investment on that. Even if you're a big brand like Coca-Cola or someone like that, they're looking for the long tail, the long-term strategy of having that brand awareness out there all the time. So if you are a small company and you're looking to sponsor a particular event, the conversation you want to be having with the property, so with the sponsee, the conversation you want to be having with them is, tell me about your business. Tell me about yourself. Tell me who you're connected to, what projects you're working on. Perhaps they're volunteering on some really interesting board. They might have connections that you want to connect with, right? So, as the person looking to sponsor something, I want you also to think past the audience, past that event audience. Now, the reason why I think the event audience is of little value is because they're not there to listen to you as a sponsor. As I said, recall of sponsors is always pretty low at the event. They also don't remember what you said. Oftentimes, particularly at galas or awards or things like that, the sponsor is given the opportunity to do an opening welcome. As soon as they've said, "Hi, I'm George from Westpac," and they roll into their standard sales pitch. Sorry, Westpac. You've forgotten that it's George from Westpac, right? You've picked up your phone, you started scrolling, you're whispering to the person beside you because you know it's the stock standard sponsor pitch. Same as when they're given the opportunity afterwards to say something at the end of the event or in the middle of the event, or even to present some awards. You're really not hearing that this is George from Westpac. The other mistake I see made is the entire program will roll out, and one part of that program is acknowledging sponsors. So a screen will go up, a whole bunch of sponsor logos will go on it, and the MC will say, "Thank you, George from Westpac, for sponsoring this event. Without you, we couldn't have done it. Thank you, XYZ Printing Company, for designing our collateral. We couldn't have gotten these programs out without it." Again, you've picked up your phone in the audience. That's not what you're there for. You didn't pay money to listen to ads. What do we do when we hear ads on the television, on Spotify, on YouTube? We skip them, right? We don't want to hear ads at all. And that's often the the only opportunity a sponsor has at the event. There's no time for them to really have any engagement. Now I'm going to jump in here though and give you one really good example of where this was done well, and this was this morning. Griffith University sponsors Business South Bank. Now, Business South Bank did an excellent job of weaving the value that Griffith University has not only to their organisation, but to the precinct that they support. They did an excellent job of weaving the value of Griffith University to members in that room, right there, right then. But additionally, the representative from Griffith University was then invited onto the stage to say a few words, as they normally are. But instead of talking about Griffith University, she talked about what we had just listened to. She was the one that tied it all together. She was the one who was able to pick up what that speaker said and tie it to something in Griffith University, pick up something that the second speaker said and relate it to ourselves and Griffith University. It was very clever the way she weaved the sponsorship of Griffith University into closing remarks for this presentation. So it can be done very well, and this was done well this morning, but it's rare. It's very, very rare. And look, I'm always looking for sponsors, so I will remember that that was Griffith University. I will remember that that was done well. I'm not sure whether the people around me will remember. So, what can you do instead? If the audience in front of you is of little value, what else can you do? Well, here's a few things that I think you should think about. Now, remember, I said to you, you need to think about your assets. What assets do you have in your organization? So, you might have marketing opportunities. And I don't mean just a newsletter. I used to work for the Public Transport Authority, and they had a lot of physical infrastructure assets around the city that had advertising opportunities on them. So one of the benefits we could actually offer back to the person who was looking for the sponsorship was that we could promote their event on these particular pieces of collateral. I would put a value on that though. So if someone came to me and said, we want free public transport for our event, we think it's worth this much, I would then actually work out really how much it was worth. And secondly, I would work out the promotional opportunities that I'm going to offer them, how much are they worth? And then I would actually push them to give us more, to give us more. So have a think about the assets that the person who you want to sponsor you has outside of the dollar value as well. Now, the other thing you want to look at is the network, your own network. So if you're the one looking for sponsorship, who do you know? You might know some really influential people in your community. You might be super well connected. You might have a board, a series of board members. They might be really well connected. Who do they know? Can you facilitate a meeting for a sponsor? So this is why it's really important not to have this cookie cutter sponsorship proposal. Okay. You really need to have a strategic planning session around what you have, who might want what you have. So, what industry, what person, thinking about, in a retail context, who's our market? Who do we want to come and buy this thing that we have? And for a minute, just setting aside what you need. Okay, just set aside what you need over there, park it on a post it note just for a second. Once you've come up with, here's what we have, here's some people that might want to be able to buy it, then I want you to go and have conversations with those people on LinkedIn. Send them a message on LinkedIn. Don't ask to get married straight away. You could simply send someone a message on LinkedIn and say, look, we've got this event. We're looking for sponsors. We're still in the process of putting our packages together, and I'd really love to get some feedback on our value proposition. Would you have 5 minutes to have a conversation with me? A Zoom call, a phone. Actually, a phone call is probably better. I'm starting to get a little bit weary of Zoom calls when a phone call will do, because what you have to remember when someone goes onto a Zoom call, they have to be prepared. We have to be dressed. Our background has to be done. We have to be ready to present to you, I guess. It's like asking for a boardroom meeting. Whereas if you're just asking for a phone call, that's really easy. I can do that in the car. I can do that while I'm waiting in the pickup line to get my kids. It's really easy to do. So write to some people on LinkedIn in the market that you think is the right market to buy your product. So I want you to think of yourself as a product and ask them if they'd be open to having a feedback conversation with you. Promise them you're not going to sell anything, and I don't want you to try and sell them anything. I really want you to just get some feedback in the first instance as to whether it's something that is attractive to them. Now, another great tip that came out of this event this morning, the I'm going to come back to this. He's not the CEO of Chemist Warehouse, but certainly one of the C-suite executives and possibly the creator of Chemist Warehouse. I could be wrong there. Go and look that up. He had some great feedback to the audience. Someone asked a question about partnerships and how to manage partnerships. The presentation was on leadership, and this person asked a question about partnerships. Now, oftentimes, what will happen in these major events is someone might ask a question, and it's actually an underhanded way of promoting a cause or promoting themselves a little bit. So watch out for that and don't do that because it's not cool. Anyway, this person asked for advice in terms of how to build and maintain good partnerships with the likes of Chemist Warehouse. He had some really great advice. He suggested you look for the personal connection. Look for the person in the organization who has been impacted by whatever it is that you are looking to be funded for. So if you are a charity, if you're a not-for-profit, if you're an organization that's looking for funding more so than sponsorship, try and find people in your network that have been impacted by either the work you do or impacted by something that is subsequently impacted by the work that you do. Um, you're going to have a much greater chance of starting a conversation with that person, than you are going in cold. And the thing I want you to remember is it is a conversation. All right. It's a conversation starter first. It's like any sales activity. You're fishing first. You're going out there first, getting some market research, understanding who, what do I have, who wants what I have, and what is the conversation that I need to talk to them about, and what do they want in return? What would they like in return for this? And that's where the conversation comes in. The conversation comes in. So you've established what you have, you know what your asset is, you've got a good selection, you've detailed a list of about 20 either industry sectors, organizations, or people who might be interested in what you have to sell. Right now, though, you don't know how much you're going to sell it for, you don't know what you're going to give them in return. This is where you need to have those conversations with those people before you build your prospectus. Before you build your prospectus. So there's some tips in terms of how you start your sponsorship process. If you're looking for small, minor, in-kind sponsorships, that's when you can use the generic sponsorship proposal for that. The thing I would encourage you to do though is meet people where they're used to being. So a lot of the times people will say meet people where they are. In this context, I'd like you to meet people where they are used to being. So if I'm evaluating something right now, most of the time I'm evaluating something online. I'm deciding whether I should sign up to a subscription. If I'm going to buy a ticket to a concert or a festival or an event or a conference, I'm evaluating the different benefits that I get for the different price points. So when you design your prospectus, make sure that how you're expecting people to evaluate is how they are doing it on a regular daily basis anyway. So you'll need to look at your industry or the people that you're targeting and what they're used to looking at. So in tech, for example, you would use the typical, column. Here's the gold, silver, bronze, platinum, and the tick. For example, that would work really well in something like tech. If, however, you were going into, say, a design style. Designers love images. They don't love words. They love images. They love typesetting, but typically they love images. So you might use images to demonstrate. You might mock up examples of their logo in the places that you want to present and get them to sign up for. But you can do that when it's the small, minor, you can have that cookie cutter proposal. You've still got to top and tail it personally for the person that you're giving it to. But just have a think about your asset, what you have, what you own, what it's worth, and who might be interested in buying that. And this is opposing to the normal process that people go through, which is what do I need and who can I sell it to? Okay. Imagine walking into a Westfield. Actually, well, this is this is what happens, right? When we go to other countries and we're sitting on the beach relaxing and we're bombarded by people coming up to us wanting us to buy the hat, buy the scarf, buy the massage, buy the nails, buy the braiding. Um, we just want to relax on the beach, right? Whereas if we go into the shops, we are looking for something. Sometimes we're browsing, of course, but when we're going into the shops, we're actually looking to buy those touristy things. So we're more accepting of hearing the sales pitch for the braids, for the for the hair ties, for the massages, those kind of things. So have a think about meeting your customer where they are, understanding who your customer is in the first place, but not going out with that what do I need and who can give me that money for it. So have a think about that. Now, I've got a sponsorship workshop coming up. Have a look in the show notes. It's a hybrid event. I'm super excited to be delivering a hybrid event. I get asked for these all the time, so I'm finally doing it. It's in person in Brisbane, in Coorparoo. It will also be live online, so you will be able to join live online as well. And then you can also get the recordings later. So if you if you can't come on the particular day that it is, you'll be able to get the recordings later on. It is an interactive workshop. We will be going through your particular circumstances, building your particular sponsorship proposal or evaluating the one that you've already got out there. And I promise you, you will get absolutely much better results once you've been through this process. It's an evaluation process where we look at 6 different activities in your sponsorship plan. We brainstorm your potential market as well as look at the price point that you have put together for your proposal. Lots of people, I'll give you the tip there, lots of people just guess. They pick a number and hope for the best. So there's a little process that we go through there to understand the price point and find that balance between how much we need versus what the market will pay. And then we're going to network with each other. So we're going to brainstorm each other's events, conferences, festivals as well. So you're not only going to get my brain in the room, you're going to get the brain of everybody who is there. So I hope you'll join me. Check out the details in the link below and share your sponsorship journey with me. Let me know how you're going. Let me know who you're looking for sponsorship from and what ideas have you come up with to get some really unique return on investment for your sponsors. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'll see you next time round. It's bye from the Event Show. Cheers.